Zara was an alien student from the planet Veralia. She was young and very curious. Today was a special day for her. Her biology class was going to learn about the mating seasons of different alien species. For Verelians, like many other aliens in her school, mating seasons were very important. They only had a few days in a year when they could reproduce. Outside those days, no one was fertile. It was just the way their bodies worked. The classroom was large and bright, filled with many students from different alien races. Zara liked learning about biology because it explained how life worked. Today, their teacher, Professor Glocks, started the class by explaining the mating seasons of the Krelian species. He spoke slowly and clearly so everyone could understand. Each species has its own time for mating, Professor Glock said. For example, the Krelian has only 2 mating seasons per year. Outside those times, they cannot reproduce. This helps control their population and keep the ecosystem balanced. Zara listened carefully. She was amazed by how different life could be on other planets. Suddenly, a message came over the school's loudspeaker. It was an announcement about a special guest coming to their school today. A human would be visiting to give a talk about human biology. Zara had heard about humans before. They were from a distant planet called Earth. Most aliens thought humans were strange. They looked weak compared to aliens like Verelians or Krelians. Humans did not have mating seasons like theirs, but no one really understood how human biology worked. The classroom door opened, and a tall man walked in. He was the human lecturer. He smiled kindly and looked around at the students. Zara noticed his calm and confident way. He seemed very different from what she expected. "Good morning, students," the human said in clear but soft English. "I am here to talk about human biology and how humans reproduce." Zara was excited, but also nervous. She wanted to learn, but she was not sure if she could believe what humans would say. The human began. "Unlike many alien species, human males are fertile all the time. They do not have a special mating season." The room fell silent. Zara's eyes grew wide. She looked at her friends, who also looked shocked. Whispers started in the classroom. "How can that be?" One alien student asked quietly. The human smiled and continued, "Yes, humans do not have a set time for fertility. Male humans can reproduce any day of the year without a special season. This is very different from many other species, you know." Zara felt a strange feeling inside her. She could not stop thinking about this. If humans were fertile all the time, what did that mean for them? Were they stronger, smarter, or just lucky? During the break, Zara and her friends gathered outside the classroom. Everyone was talking about the human and his strange biology. "I don't believe it," said one of her classmates, an alien named Threx. "It sounds impossible. There must be a mistake." Zara shook her head. "No, the human said it himself. I want to know more. I want to find out why humans are like this." Her friend Lyra looked worried. "Be careful, Zara. Some aliens say humans are weak and silly. They might laugh at you for being curious." But Zara was determined. She felt this was important. She wanted to understand humans better. Maybe this could change the way aliens thought about other species. After school, Zara went to the school library. She looked for books about humans, but found only a few. Most information was old or unclear. The book said humans had continuous fertility, but did not explain why. Zara's mind was full of questions. She decided she would ask the human lecturer more tomorrow. She wanted answers. That night, Zara lay awake in her bed. She thought about the human's words again and again. If humans were always fertile, what else did that mean for them? Could humans survive better on different planets? Could they be stronger than anyone thought? The next day, Zara arrived early at school. She waited near the human's classroom. When he came out, she gathered courage and walked up to him. "Excuse me, sir," she said politely. "Can you tell me more about Human fertility? Why are human males fertile all the time? The human smiled warmly. That is a good question, Zara. Human biology is unique. Our bodies work differently from many other species. Being fertile all the time helps humans survive and grow their population quickly. It is one of the reasons humans have spread across many planets. Zara listened carefully. She wanted to learn everything. But how do humans stay healthy and strong with this? Doesn't it make them weak? The human shook his head. No, it actually helps us. We have adapted to many environments. Being fertile all the time is part of that strength. Zara felt a new respect for humans growing inside her. She wanted to tell her friends, but she also felt nervous. Not everyone would believe her. As she walked back to her class, she saw some alien students whispering and pointing at her. Zara knew her curiosity might cause trouble, but she did not care. She wanted to find the truth. The human lecturer was different from what she expected. He was patient and kind. Zara felt that maybe humans were not as weak as aliens thought. The bell rang and the class began again. Zara sat down with a new hope. She wanted to discover more about humans and their secrets. Her adventure was just beginning. Zara couldn't stop dreaming about him, not because he was handsome, not because he was human, but because of what he said. Human males are always fertile, no season, no waiting. Those words echoed in her mind like thunder in an empty cave. Night, she didn't sleep well. Her dreams were full of strange images, of planets full of humans, growing fast, spreading across the stars. No limits, no seasons. Just endless strength. The next morning, she woke up early, heart beating fast. Today was the official start of the Cultural Exchange Week. Students from different species would be paired with guests. Zara's school had invited the human, and to her shock, she was assigned to him. She walked into the school courtyard where guests were gathering. Her hands were shaking. Her heart thumped like a war drum. Then she saw him. Tall, calm, a quiet power in his walk. His name was Dr. Alan Reeves. He looked nothing like a warrior, but something in his eyes told her this man had seen things. Dangerous things. Zara stepped forward. He turned to her, smiling politely. You must be Zara. She nodded, unsure what to say. No one had ever made her nervous like this. Not even the elite war officers from the Krelian army. Would you like to join me in the science wing? He asked. I've been invited to see your research labs. Zara blinked. Yes, of course. As they walked side by side, other students watched. Some whispered. Some laughed quietly. Zara's walking with the human. Why is she so interested in him? She's probably just curious about that fertility thing. Zara ignored them. Inside the lab, rows of alien machines hummed softly. Strange lights flickered, scanning data and testing chemicals. But Zara wasn't interested in the tech today. She wanted answers. She turned to Alan. May I ask something personal? Alan chuckled. You mean about human mating? She blushed. A little but nodded. Yes. How is it possible that human males are always ready, always able to reproduce? Alan leaned against the table, folding his arms. You know, every alien who hears that looks at me like I've told a lie. But it's the truth. Human biology doesn't rely on seasons. We're always capable of reproduction, whether it's winter, summer, peace, or war. Zara narrowed her eyes. But how do you control your population? How do you stay stable? Alan's smile faded. His answer was softer now. Sometimes. We don't. We grow fast. Too fast. Our history is full of wars and hunger because of it. But that same drive, that constant readiness, it also helped us survive when we should have died. Zara felt goosebumps across her skin. This wasn't just a biology lesson. This was a story of survival, of power, of struggle. She whispered. Maybe that's why humans keep spreading, even to dangerous worlds. Alan nodded. We're stubborn and very hard to erase. Zara stared at him, her mind racing. Her own species could only reproduce during a short, controlled cycle. If something happened during that cycle, war, illness, disaster, it could wipe out entire generations. But humans didn't have that weakness. Do human females also have no season? She asked carefully. They have a cycle, Alan replied. But it comes every month, not every year. Not every 5 years. It's fast, consistent, reliable. Zara swallowed hard. No wonder humans had taken so many planets. No wonder they weren't extinct. Suddenly Zara's rival, a tall, sharp-tongued alien girl named Selrix, stormed into the room with her arms crossed. Oh, still chasing the human fairy tales? She sneered. You think humans are special? Just because they breed like rabbits? Alan raised an eyebrow, but stayed silent. Zara stood tall. I think they deserve respect. You laugh now, Selrix. But one day you'll understand what they really are. Selrix smirked. Prove it. Show us that all this talk about fertile all year isn't just words. Alan finally spoke, voice calm but firm. I didn't come here to prove anything. But if knowledge offends you, then maybe you're afraid of what you'll learn. Selrix scoffed and left, muttering insults under her breath. Zara turned back to Alan. I'm sorry. It's all right, he said. Fear often hides behind laughter. Zara looked at him. Can you teach me more? Not just about humans, but about how your people survived. How they became so strong. Alan gave her a thoughtful look. Are you sure? Once you learn these things, you won't look at the galaxy the same way. Zara didn't hesitate. I want to know everything. The human nodded slowly. Then tomorrow, come alone. I'll show you something the others don't know. Zara's heart pounded. What could it be? What was the human hiding? She didn't know it yet, but that one meeting would change her future forever. The message wasn't spoken. It was scratched into her desk. A deep, curved line, a mark from arrival. Zara froze when she saw it. It was the symbol of challenge in Varelian culture, a silent way of saying, you're being watched. Prove yourself or be humiliated. She looked around. No one stared openly. But she knew who did it. Selrix, the same alien girl who had mocked a human. The same one who hated Zara's curiosity. And now she wanted a public challenge. Zara's heart beat faster. Not with fear, but with purpose. Later that day, the school announced a knowledge debate during Cultural Week. It was meant to bring alien and human ideas together. But Selrix had twisted it into something else. She stood in the middle of the grand hall and pointed directly at Zara across the crowd. I challenge you, Selrix said loudly. Prove that human males are what you say they are. Or admit that you were wrong and foolish. Gasps echoed through the room. Alien students murmured, amused and excited. A challenge like this hadn't happened in years. Zara stepped forward. Slowly, her voice calm, but her eyes firm. I accept. That night, Zara walked alone through the school garden. The stars above looked different now, colder, heavier. She thought of quitting. She could walk away, pretend none of this mattered. But something burned inside her. Not just curiosity anymore. Pride, belief, and the truth she had touched. Suddenly, she heard footsteps behind her. She turned. Alan, the human lecturer, stood with a gentle smile. I heard about the challenge, he said. Zara sighed. I didn't ask for it. But I can't back down now. Alan nodded. You're brave. But bravery must be backed with facts. Zara looked at him. Will you help me? I need proof. Solid proof, something no one can deny. Alan's expression changed. He looked serious now. There's something the public doesn't know, he said. A human medical file classified by most alien worlds. It explains why human males are always fertile. But it's been hidden because it makes humans look too powerful. Zara blinked. Why? Alan replied softly. Because some species fear us. Not for our weapons, but for how fast we can grow. How impossible it is to stop us once we begin. Zara felt goosebumps again. Can I see the file? She whispered. Alan hesitated, then reached into his bag and pulled out a slim dataship. Study this, he said, but only show it when it matters most. The next day, the grand hall was packed. Hundreds of alien students, teachers, and visitors filled the glowing arena. Large screens hovered above, ready to project data and visuals. Zara stood on one side of the stage. Selric stood on the other. Smirking. The debate began. Selric started with sarcasm. We are gathered here today to discuss human superpowers. Like endless fertility, she said with a mocking bow. The crowd laughed. Zara waited calmly. When her turn came, she spoke slowly, clearly. Human males are fertile all year, she said. This is not magic, it's biology. A result of a species that adapted not through strength, but through unstoppable reproduction. Selric laughed. Big words, but do you have proof? Zara nodded. She placed the dataship into the school projector. The screen flickered. Then it lit up with human medical scans, hormonal charts, and fertility graphs. The data was real, backed by years of studies across dozens of worlds. Human males produce active reproductive cells every day, Zara said. Unlike most alien species, their bodies don't shut down this system between cycles. This allows humans to recover population faster, spread faster, and survive even after near extinction. The crowd went silent. Selric tried to interrupt, but Zara raised her voice. You think it makes them animals? I say it makes them survivors. Alan stood quietly in the back, watching. The screen displayed one final message, written by a famous alien biologist. No species in the known galaxy grows faster, adapts quicker, or multiplies more stubbornly than humans. If survival is power, then they are the most powerful. A hush fell over the room. Zara stepped back, her heart pounding. She had done it, not with emotion, but with truth. Selric looked pale. She turned without a word and walked off stage. The hall erupted in noise. Some clapped, some argued, but none laughed at Zara anymore. That night, Zara stood by the window of her dorm, looking out at the stars. Alan walked up beside her. You stood strong today, he said. I had to, she replied. Because this isn't just about humans, it's about truth and respect. Alan nodded. Then you're not just a student anymore. You're a bridge. Zara smiled faintly. She didn't know what would come next. But she knew one thing. The galaxy would never look at humans the same again, and neither would she. It started with silence. Not peace, not calm, but the kind of silence that means you're being watched. Zara noticed it right after the debate. No more whispers in the halls. No more teasing from classmates. Instead, quiet stares, nervous glances, and locked doors where doors were never locked before. She wasn't a joke anymore. She was a threat, and someone didn't like that. It was late evening when she returned to her room. She found her belongings neatly moved, books organized, data pads cleaned. But she hadn't done any of that. Her heart skipped. Someone had been inside. She quickly checked her bag. The human medical file was still there, but the chip had been scanned. Zara's hands trembled. She pressed a hidden button on her bracelet, activating a private signal. Alan. A few minutes later, he appeared at her door, calm as always, but his eyes sharp. They know, Zara whispered. They accessed the file. Alan didn't look surprised. I expected this. The truth spreads fast. And fear spreads even faster. Zara sat down on her bed. Why are they afraid of this information? It's just science. Alan shook his head. Because it changes power. Every empire is built on the belief that they are stronger. But if your data proves humans are more fertile, more adaptable, then that belief cracks. Zara looked up. What will they do to me? Alan sighed. They won't hurt you. Not yet, but they will try to silence you. And they did. The next day, Zara was removed from her advanced biology class. Without warning, her school locker access was denied. She wasn't allowed in the data archives. Even her communications with other alien students were restricted. The message was clear: stop, now. But Zara didn't stop. Instead, she studied the file in secret. Every night, in the shadows of her dorm, under a blanket of silence, she read about human biology, reproductive speed, hormonal balance, and immune strength. And what she found shocked her. Human males didn't just reproduce quickly. They passed on stronger immunity, faster adaptation, and resistance to many alien diseases. Zara gasped as she read line after line. This wasn't just about fertility anymore. This was about survival. Evolution. Future. If alien species ever mixed with humans, the children could inherit that strength. And that could change the balance of the entire galaxy. But not everyone wanted change. 3 days after the debate, Zara received an official warning from the Galactic Student Authority. Cease all human-related biological research. Any further exploration will result in suspension, removal, or exile. Her hands shook as she read the message. She thought of her parents' high-ranking Varelians who had warned her to stay normal. She thought of Selrix, still watching her from across the campus, eyes full of silent fire. She thought of Alan, who had given her the file knowing the danger. Then she looked in the mirror and whispered to herself, "I'm not afraid. I want to know the truth." That night, Alan called her to a hidden part of the science building. She followed him through a metal door, into a room filled with ancient research materials. "This," he said, "is where the first humans were studied by alien scientists. Decades ago." Zara walked slowly, her fingers brushing against dusty data crystals and old research cores. "These records," Alan said, "were buried, hidden by leaders who feared what humans might become." "Because we can't be controlled?" Zara asked. Alan nodded. "Because you can't plan against what keeps evolving." She turned to him, voice low. "I want to release the full study. Let the students know. Let everyone see the truth." Alan looked at her, long and hard, then handed her a clean copy of the full report. "If you do this, there's no going back." Zara took it, and didn't hesitate. That morning, every student in the academy woke up to the same message on their holoscreens: Human Biology, Unsealed. Presented by Zara of Varelia. Verified by Human Ambassador, Dr. Alan Reeves. It wasn't just text. It was proof: medical scans, test results, visual comparisons between species. Within hours, the academy exploded into debate. Some praised her. Some cursed her. And somewhere in the highest towers of Varelian government, her name was added to the WATCO ISTA. But Zara didn't hide. She stood in the open courtyard as thousands of students argued, watched, whispered. She had become more than a student. She was a messenger now, and the message was simple: humans are not weak, they are not lucky. They are built to survive, and they are already among us. She didn't expect a gift. Not after everything. Not after the threats, the warnings, the silence. But there it was on her desk, a single flower. Not from her planet. Not from any alien world she knew. It was Earthborn. A blue petal flower called Forget-Me-Not. And next to it, a note in Alan's handwriting: "Even when the galaxy forgets the truth, someone must remember." Zara's chest tightened. She had stood alone for days. Now, for the first time, she didn't feel alone. After the report was released, chaos swept the school. Some students supported Zara, calling her brave. Others avoided her, like she was infected with something dangerous. Rumors spread. "She's working with humans to change our DNA. She wants to marry a human. She's not even Varelian anymore." But Zara didn't back down. She walked with her head held high. And every evening, She met Alan in secret on the edge of the school garden. Where the lights were dim and the stars above were loud. There, they talked. Not just about science, but about life, culture, pain, hope. One night she asked him, "Do humans feel fear?" "Like we do?" Alan laughed softly. "Yes, but we move forward anyway." Zara tilted her head. "Even when everything is against you." He nodded, especially then. But friendship, in a place ruled by fear, was dangerous. Selrik's wasn't quiet anymore. She had formed a group, the Purity Circle, alien students who believed in keeping species separate. One day, as Zara walked out of the science wing, she saw them waiting. "Zara," Selrik said coldly, "you've been warned. Stop spreading your disease." "It's not a disease," Zara said. "It's information." "Then you're the disease," Selrik hissed. "You walk like a Varelian, but you speak like a human." The group laughed, but Zara didn't flinch. She stepped forward. "Maybe it's time we stop being afraid of mixing knowledge. Or maybe we're just afraid of what humans make us feel." The group fell silent. Zara walked away. Later that night, Alan brought her to a small lab off campus. A place no one knew about. "I wasn't sure if I should show you this," he said. Inside were samples. Hybrid models. Research that showed what could happen if human and alien biology combined. Zara stared at the data. "This is incredible," Alan nodded. "The possibilities are endless. Disease resistance, stronger minds, longer lifespans. But what? Powerful species will fight it. They want control, not evolution." Zara turned to him. "Then we'll have to be louder than their fear." The next morning, things took a sudden turn. A message arrived from the Galactic Education Council. "Zara of Varelia is hereby summoned to a private hearing. Immediate attendance required." The message was cold, formal. Zara's hands trembled. Alan stood behind her. "They're not calling you for a discussion. They want to make an example of you." "I'm not afraid," she whispered, but she was, not for herself, for the future she believed in. Before she left for the hearing, Alan gave her a small device. "A projection cube. What's on it?" she asked. He looked at her deeply. "Hope." She pocketed it and walked into the unknown. The council room was dark, with only a single beam of light in the center. Council members stood in shadows, their voices cold and robotic. "You have shared forbidden data," one said. "You have created unrest," said another. "Do you deny your actions?" asked a third. Zara stood in the light, alone. "No," she said clearly. "I don't deny them. I only deny the fear that keeps us in the dark." She pressed the cube. And in that moment, the room was filled with light-projected images of her journey, of the human research, of the hope that mixing species could bring. A long silence followed. Then, "Leave now," the council leader said. "We will decide your punishment later." As she walked out, Alan was waiting. "Well?" he asked. "I don't know," she said. "But I showed them the truth." He smiled. "Then you've already won." And for the first time in days, she smiled back. Their friendship was no longer secret. It was a spark, and it had just set fire to the stars. They gave her no warning. One moment, Zara was walking through the garden. The next, she was dragged into the central square by armored guards, in front of the entire school. Thousands of students, teachers, officials, and cameras. A massive, glowing screen read, "Public Judgment. Alien student accused of spreading human contamination." Zara stood in the center of a wide platform alone. Above her, drones floated, recording every second for the galaxy to see. This wasn't a trial. It was a show. Selrik stood on the stage across from her, dressed in formal Varelian robes, holding a scroll of evidence. She spoke into the mic, her voice sharp like a blade. This student shared forbidden human data. She encouraged biological mixing between species. She praised humans as superior. She must answer before everyone. The crowd murmured. Whispers turned into waves. She's the human lover. She's trying to weaken our race. Or maybe she's right. Zara's heart beat wildly. But she didn't step back. Instead, she raised her hand. I have no weapons, she said calmly. Only truth. The council voice echoed. From the speakers, very well. Present your truth. And let the crowd decide your fate. Zara pulled out the same projection cube Alan had given her. With a click, the air above the platform shimmered. Images, scans, and data lit up the space in brilliant color. She spoke slowly, each word simple but full of power. Human males are fertile all year, not because they are animals, but because they are survivors. Their biology is not a danger, it is a key. A key to understanding growth, healing, and adaptation. The images changed, charts comparing species, showing how human genes responded to illness, climate, even trauma. Humans aren't here to replace us, she continued. They're here to teach us what survival truly means. The crowd went silent. Even Selrix was speechless. Then, a new voice rang out. A familiar one. Alan. He walked onto the stage uninvited, but unafraid. For too long, he said, we humans have been seen as weak, simple, primitive. He turned to the crowd. But we survived wars. We healed from plagues. We rebuilt worlds, not because we are perfect, but because we never stopped trying. He looked at Zara, and sometimes we meet someone brave enough to stand with us, even when the galaxy turns against her. Selric stepped forward again, angry now. She broke laws. She corrupted alien minds with human nonsense. Zara didn't argue. She simply turned to the crowd and asked, then why do you fear it so much, if it's nonsense? The crowd gasped. Whispers turned into debate. A few students clapped. Others watched silently, unsure. Then a small alien child in the front row stood up. She held up a drawing. A human and an alien, holding hands. I want to learn from both, the child said. And in that quiet, innocent moment, everything changed. The council speaker returned. The public has spoken. The data will remain available. Zara is free. And the school will open a mixed-species science division for those who wish to learn. As the crowd slowly dispersed, Alan walked beside Zara. You didn't just win a debate, he said. She smiled softly. What did I win? He looked up at the stars. A future. Zara's name was now written in 3 places. In the schools, record, in the galactic news, and most importantly, in history. But she didn't feel powerful. She didn't feel famous. She felt something else entirely. Alone. Because the truth is, when you change the world, you don't always get to keep your place in it. 3 days after the public trial, Zara stood in the middle of the great hall. Around her, students talked, laughed, and lived freely. No one mocked her now. No one called her names. They just looked at her like she was different. Respected, yes, but separate. Even Selrix had vanished, sent home for counseling. And the council? They had approved the creation of the first interspecies biology research group. Zara would lead it. It should have been a victory, but she still hadn't answered the final question. Alan waited for her on the edge of the landing bay. He was leaving. His mission was over, his report delivered. His part in her life finished. Or maybe not yet. As she approached, he smiled gently. Will you miss me? He asked, half joking. She didn't smile back. Instead, she looked up at the stars. Where will you go next? Earth first, he replied. Then to a colony where humans and aliens live together. Quiet, peaceful, messy, but real. She nodded slowly, then asked, why did you really help me, Alan? Not just with data. With everything. He was quiet for a moment. Then answered softly, because you believed in something most people are too scared to imagine, a future that's not divided. Zara held out a small device. A memory chip. On it was everything: the research, the debates, the footage of the trial, the flower he gave her, and even the child's drawing. "Take this," she said, "in case someone, somewhere, needs to remember." Alan took it gently. "And what about you? Where will you go?" Zara looked back at the academy. The school, the walls, the species that still whispered behind her back. Then she looked at Alan. At the ship behind him, at the open galaxy beyond. She smiled. "Every species has a mating season," she said quietly. "But humans, they bring a season of change," Alan chuckled. "That's the most poetic thing I've heard from a scientist." Zara shrugged. "Maybe I'm not just a scientist anymore." She stepped forward, one step closer to the ship, and then another, until she was beside him. Together, they walked up the ramp. No speeches, no goodbyes. Just stars above, and possibilities ahead. A new era had begun, one where humans weren't feared, but understood. One where aliens weren't separated, but welcomed. And one where a Varelian girl and a human man proved that unity is not weakness, but the strongest science of all.